possible to have a concept of wholeness. Oneness with Christ is nothing more than this concept realized that we are one. We are the same. The lesson is only as complicated as the most complex among you needs it to be. So if you're a very complex person, then the lesson is going to come to you in a complex way. If you are a very complex person, then the lesson is going to come to you in a very complex way, because if it came to you in a simple way, you wouldn't even pay attention to it. Because you need stuff to be complex before you think it's really valuable. Those complex ones of you out there. Those little cute, juicy, complex people out there in this audience who have complex problems, you have complex problems because you see yourself as so complex. So if you sit up there going, but I'm complicated, my life is complicated, everything is going on. That's why everything is complicated. You complicated. You want a simple problem? See yourself as simple. I am spirit. I am spirit. I am spirit. I'm not a black dude named Earl Purdy hoping he can make it, trying to figure out all day long how to overcome forces beyond his control and manipulate everybody around him so he can be happy. Except sometimes. You're just lying about it. You know, it's a part of me that wants to control everybody and wants everybody to do what I want them to do, because that is the secret of happiness. Is that you all just do what I want you to do. It's simple. Just do what I want you to do and I'll be happy. Anybody else use that formula? Anybody willing to admit they use that formula? If there's a part of you that you know you think your happiness is on controlling things outside of yourself and people outside of yourself and getting them to be the certain way you want them to be in order for you to be happy, and you're looking for that perfect slave. Are you looking for that? Do you go on Match.com and look for the perfect slave? Why don't you just be straight up? I want a slave. You'd be surprised how many people will respond. I tried that one time. It took me a week to go through all the resumes. You'd be surprised how many people want to be slaves. Like practically everybody you see that doesn't know the truth. They're slave to their programming, they're slave to their childhood, they're slave to their boss, they're slave to society, they're slaves to their own beliefs about themselves, slaves to the childhood beliefs that they got. They're slaves all around the place. The strangest slaves of all are adults who still live as though they have to obey the beliefs they got as a child. Those are the biggest slaves of all. The ones who don't even believe what they learned in their childhood is true, but they still live by it. They would sit up and tell you they don't believe in those old beliefs that they got about sin and guilt and fear, and you watch them still not do anything they really want to do because they're concerned about what other people are thinking. Is it really bad or wrong? Yeah. Woo! Would you breathe with me just a second? Sometimes people come to my classes and they don't breathe for an hour. They pass out and they don't know why. We should stop breathing in the presence of the truth. Any questions or comments before I go on further? Sometimes I just love to read the truth. You know, just hear it cold cocked and then just say it back. Any thoughts? Anyone? Any beliefs? Any questions?
It's too good to think.
There can be questions about this, questions about my trip, just any question about anything.
I have a question.
Okay.
We're talking about one life spread out through different bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognize anyone from your different bodies?
Do you recognize anyone?
Do you? Have you recognized people from your different bodies?
Yeah. Well, it was a gang of them at the talk I did in London. There were so many people that I met that I knew I had met, and they knew that I had met them, that we went directly to love. And no, none of that having to go through all these different barriers before you join with the person in your heart. Yeah, right. And it had the most incredible feeling of deja vu. Like, there's no reason why any of this should feel as familiar as it does. But the Course in Miracles teaches that we're reliving an ancient instant over and over again. So like, in other words, the Course basically says, this is the movie Groundhog Day. Like, I always tell people, if you want to see a movie that really reflects the truth in a way that's almost creepy, rent Groundhog Day.
Absolutely.
It's basically a story about this guy that got up every day and it was the same, everything would happen just like it did the previous day. So it got to the point that he knew what was going to happen all day long, to the point he could choose to avoid certain things because he knew it was going to happen, or help people before it happened to them. So it looked like he was psychic. He wasn't really psychic at all. He was just reliving the past over and over again, and that's the secret to all psychics. If you realize the pattern that we're living over and over again, of course you can predict pretty much what's going to happen next. If you've already seen the movie, you can predict what's going to happen in the next scene. So you're reliving the same instant over and over again until you make a choice for love. Until you make a choice for happiness, you attract the same relationships to you over and over again. You just attract the same thing over and over. Now some people say, well, if I'm going to attract the same thing over and over again, then why don't I just stay where I am? Because if I go to something else, I'm just going to meet the whole lesson again. That's perfectly okay if you choose to look at it that way. But for me personally, I love the variety of the lesson. It's more fun. Maybe it is the same lesson, but this time I got it in pink, and this time I got it in green, and this time I got it in blue, and this time I got it in yellow. And another thing I noticed about choosing to sometimes release a situation and go to a new one, even though it's going to ultimately be the same thing you're going to learn, is that just for a little while, you really believe it's new and different. and since for a little while you believe it's new and different, you actually could implement a change of attitude because you really don't believe it's the same person you've been dealing with before or the same thing. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like it was funny. Like when I first moved here, it really looked like it was different. Then I found myself attracting friends who were the friends I had before, but they just had different bodies. But I could say that's the personality of my friend Tony, and that's the personality. You all know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You hang around long enough, the same energy comes back to you in a physical form. But for a while, just for a little while, it really seemed different, so you really could have treated the person different. For instance, if I need to learn how to give love unconditionally, let's say I got a big grievance with somebody over here, and for whatever reason right now I can't get past that grievance, so I choose for another relationship over here. Since I don't think it's the same person that it was over there, I'll let the love come out faster here. And maybe make a difference and never even get, it's easier to never get in the illusion of the grievance in the first place than to get in it and try to get out of it. That's what I've noticed. If I can avoid falling in the hole, that's a lot better to me than getting in the hole trying to get out. But if I do fall in the hole, I want to know that I have a rescuer, and that's the Holy Spirit. Oh, you in the hole again? Yeah, just put a flat screen down here. I'm not gonna even come out. Give me a chair, give me a sofa, just drop it down in the hole, and I'm just gonna stay down here. Is that what you do? Do you just rearrange your jail cell and then think you're out of prison? Is that what you do? That's what you call change? You just do the same thing you've always done, but you just do it a different way? You know, I'm in the prison cell, and my bunk is on this side. Now I move it on that side, and now I say I got a new house. Is that what you do? Is that what we do? So the lesson is only as complicated as the most complex among you need to be. You're one of those people that I was talking about. You know, you're somebody that I know. This lesson is on.
That's why she asked the question.
Maybe so, but it's very obvious to me because she's never had fear that I could perceive of me. She didn't put me through he's a man. What does he want? You men just want one thing. No, we want more than one thing. We want a lot of things. But it was really quick. Like if you're in a situation where there are a lot of people attracted to you, especially they're the opposite sex, and you can tell right off the bat that they're completely open to you on every level, and they may even see you as the possible person that they've always been waiting for. Then when you begin to wake up, you know what you do? You realize that they received the best that they could receive from you right now before the fear comes in that would come with the specialness and the physical joining. It's like they feel no fear with you right now. But then if you go, like if I saw a bunch of women and they go, well, I want to go to bed with all these women because I love all of them and they're all me. And I'm totally innocent anyway. All right. I'm totally guiltless. Because you know, you have people that'll come up and they'll say, I recognize you, I love you, and I'm available. You know, and see, sometimes when you're scared to join, you can't even imagine how some people are not. So, you know, one of the things that used to freak me out was how I would meet people who would do things that I would never imagine doing myself. And you ever had that experience where you would be with somebody and they do something that you would never imagine yourself doing? Then all of a sudden you realize that almost any kind of person you can think of exists. So there would never be any need for any need that you may have to not be met. Because anything you can think of, there's somebody who wants to do it on their own. That you don't even have to convince them to do it. They just want to do it anyway. And you're blessed enough that they want to do it with you. So there's no guilt because there's no manipulation and you're not trying to get anybody to do anything. It's like feeling guilty because the sun shines on you. That's what the sun does. It would shine whether you were around or not. Thank God you on a tan. Then the sun, just being the sun, is going to give you a tan. But the sun isn't saying, hey, you land on the beach, I'm going to give you a tan. It'll give a tan to the person who thinks they're guilty and innocent, and it'll give a tan to the person that robbed the bank, and it'll give a tan to the person that just got through beating their wife up, and it'll give a tan to the person who just got through giving to people who are less fortunate. The sun does not discern between who it will shine on based on their character. That's our love, which isn't real love. Real love doesn't have any such discriminations. So there's nothing you could want that there wouldn't be someone who could meet that need, because that's the way they are. You just have to ask. You have to ask. Not come to a conclusion about how it's going to happen, because when you come to a conclusion about how it's supposed to happen, you alleviate all the other ways it could happen, because you're looking for it to happen the way you decided it should. So having a conclusionary existence blocks your manifestation.
Yeah.
Did everybody hear that?
Yeah.
When you come up with how it's supposed to happen, then you just screwed yourself.
Yeah.
Because if that's not the easiest way for it to happen, then you're blocking all the easy ways it could happen. But everything hinges on your asking. Ask. Asking is not taking. Asking is not taking. People don't ask because they think